Beautiful job. And up next, I would want to work on the company's filter. And that one is going to be extremely similar to our sort one. Because if you remember in a sort, we used select and we hard coded those values. So the difference is going to be in this case that, of course, we'll iterate over our companies and then just display these options dynamically. But everything else is going to be exactly the same, meaning, of course, there's going to be different function, update filters, but the idea is exactly the same where we have select, there's going to be name, there's going to be a class name, and all that. The difference is that data will be added dynamically. So I'll close the sort, and then in the filters, I would want to navigate to the end of categories. Let's set up our comments, and we'll say companies, and then end of companies, and then let's go with our div, the class of form control, like so. And then instead of this div, let's go with heading 5, company, and then let's set up our select over here. And then for select, we need name, which again needs to match to our filter state value. In my case, that is company. And I know that I keep on repeating this every time, but it is extremely important. If this name will match to whatever you have in the state, then of course, when you're set up these update filters, of course, nothing is going to happen because this is how we set it up dynamically. And of course, we access that because it is in the name. Then for the ID, actually don't need anything over here. And then since I would want this to be a controlled input, I'm going to go with value is equal to a company. So my state value, and also right away on change is equal to my update filters. And then lastly, I would want to add a little bit of styling. So say here, company class as well. Now inside of the select, this is where we would want to iterate over companies, and then we're going with a map method. And then as far as the return, we're going to go with a option. Now, again, in order to make this shorter, I'm just going to say C, which means that every item will be represented as a C. And I'm just going to go with return and then option. So we're returning option element. Then for the key, I'll use my index. And then for the value, I'll use the C, so the company. And then inside of this option, I would also want to display my company. So whatever value I have over here. That's why we have select. We have all the companies, and we don't actually have to change anything in the filters here. So this is going to be exactly the same like we had with a input. So now if I navigate to the bigger screen, if I open up again my components, I have my filters. Notice by default, company is equal to all. But as I change my select value, notice the value also changes in the state. That should do it. Now, of course, we can proceed and display our colors.